Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video, and welcome to episode 115 of Ask Boss Bounty. This is the weekly series where you ask me questions in the comment section below, and each week I do my very best to answer them for you. So as always, if you do have a question for next week's episode, please leave it in the comment section below and hopefully you'll be featured next week. So just a couple of things before we do get onto this week's questions, and the first one being that I am so close to 20,000 subscribers, which is just mind-blowing to me. So thank you to everybody that's watching right now if you are subscribed for helping me get close to that goal, and to thank you all for subscribing. We're going to be doing a giveaway when I hit 20,000, and everything that you see in shot right now will be given away. I'll probably do it in like batches, because obviously shipping on singular items like these would end up costing me a lot of money. So I'll probably maybe do like 2 or 3 giveaways. I'm doing a separate giveaway for my Patreon supporters as well. So everything that you see in front of you here is going to be for just regular viewers of my channel that enjoy the content. And I will be including one of these, which is the Mandalorian and Grogu Maldo crease. The Patreon supporters, there'll be one of those up for grabs for those guys as well. But I thought, why not stick one in this lot as well for you guys? So details of that will be out when I hit the 20,000. I'm about 100 and something away. It's not too many. It shouldn't be too long. Could even be as quick as like next week that I do the giveaway, and I'll do a live stream on it and all that as well. It'll be really good fun. The second thing is I just want to say a big thank you to Brett on Fett and Saberforce Toys for becoming my latest Patreon supporters. Your support means a great deal to me. And Brett on Fett is actually a fellow YouTuber, so if you do get a chance to check out his channel. Alright then folks, so if you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to drop a like down below, and let's get on to the first question of the week. Mason Miller says, question for next week, where do you get your figure bases? Alright, so I get this question a lot, and I usually just reply to the person that's commented, just letting them know where I get them from. But basically I thought I'd just answer it on this so you all get to know where I get them from. Now, these are the ones I tend to go for. These are these little plastic ones here, and they are called star stands. And basically I buy them off eBay. A few sellers sell them within the Facebook groups as well. But if you go onto eBay and search for star stands modern, because they do vintage ones as well, then you will find them. I will leave a link in the description below, a handy link, so you don't have to go off searching, which will take you to a page which has basically got all of the people listing those star stands. Phil the Force says, hi Tim, love and best wishes to the family. Question for next week. Wow, I've just seen the last episode of Book of Boba Fett, and it's clear to me that Hasbro are getting the lowdown from Lucasfilm way ahead. In that episode we had the 501st, Figure in Dan and Ahsoka, all which are TVC upcoming. What's next? Cobra Kai Luke. So yeah, absolutely. We've had this question before, whether Hasbro are in contact with Lucasfilm and how much sort of knowledge they get. And I think it's only the real sort of top secret stuff that gets held back, such as Grogu and I think Luke Skywalker from The Force Awakens. But a lot of the other stuff they do hear about well in advance. And you're right, the fact that we are getting the 501st and Figure in Dan, things like that, you know, it does show that they are in constant contact with each other. And you know, I'm not going to say that we're going to get a 501st on a Book of Boba Fett card or anything. It will be VC60 straight on that Revenge of the Sith card, but it all links together, doesn't it? It's a bit like the way we got the Death Star droid last year, the Walmart exclusive. You know, he was the barman in the Navarro Cantina. So it all links together, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Benny Sutherland says, hey boss, great video. Question for next week, actually 2. Do you think we'll ever see an updated Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett using the new Return of the Jedi body mold, just with a few little tweaks like the gauntlets, the paint, the cape and the belt? And do you ever think Dengar will ever get re-released in the vintage collection? I really want that figure, but don't want to pay a scalper price. Thank you and look forward to your video next week. So in terms of the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, I think that's a given. At the end of the day, they're not going to waste that mold. They're going to use it for loads of different figures, and they already have. And if they can adapt it very, very slightly so that we get a brand new Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett, I would not put that past them whatsoever. It completely makes sense. As for Dengar, I had this question the other week, I believe, and I think with the whole Book of Boba Fett thing and bounty hunters on people's minds, there's a comic series for, you know, the bounty hunters. I think we could definitely see Dengar at some point re-released. I mean, it's a decent enough figure. VC01 started it all. I could see that happening. Jamie Bates says, hope you're well. Question for next week. What do you think the chances are of the Han Solo Stormtrooper figure being re-released on a better card back? Another video made a point that it was hard to get hold of as it was a Target exclusive, so maybe they'll find a way. A yellow name pill would be cool. Yeah, I think there's every possibility that figure could get re-released in the future. As you say, it wasn't exclusive, and I think once that exclusivity runs out, that they can bring it into the line. They've done that with certain Black Series figures. I think the Emperor is a good example. But will they change the card back? I don't know. They've done it in the past, haven't they, for the Senate Guard, I think it was. But I'm not too sure if they will now. I mean, even with the re-releases, some of the re-releases, they don't do anything with the card backs, do they? So I can't see them doing that. But the re-release of the figure, yeah, I mean, that's entirely possible. Straight out of Coruscant says, great episode, mate. Question for next week. Are you going to the next Echo Live, and any ideas of what you want to pick up? So yes, I will be going to the Echo Live in Redditch in April, I think it is. Can't wait for it. It's always a great time meeting up with people and hopefully being able to buy some stuff. What am I looking for? Well, I always go with a list and I never end up getting what I want. I always end up buying something completely random. But I think I definitely want to hopefully improve on my Bossk focus of mint on card Kenner figures. And I actually picked up one recently, and it's a pretty special one, I've got to say. It is the Palatoy on the Empire Strikes Back. It is a 41 back, absolutely beautiful. And I'm not going to lie, it cost a pretty penny to pick this one up. It's graded 75. I've actually sold at least 6 mint on card Return of the Jedi figures to be able to buy this, because that's basically how we collect, right? We sort of, buy things, move things on, get what we actually want in the end. And although I loved those Return of the Jedi card backs that I've been collecting over, the last 4 or 5 years, when this came up as an option, I just had to strike while the iron's hot. These don't come up often, the British Palatoy version of Bossk, so I'm very, very happy with that. And it's making me want to focus on Bossk even more. So if I can get some of the other Empire Strikes Back cards with the offer stickers and things like that, then that'll be awesome. But they don't come up too often, so I'm not holding my breath. Major Camo says, great video as always. Tim, question for next week. Have you considered creating a Discord server for the community to get together and interact with one another? Keep up the great work. I do have a Discord server, but it is limited to my Patreon supporters and channel members. It's a perk that I wanted to give them, but also if I was to allow it to be, just open to everybody, it would just be impossible for me to police it and be an admin on it. I just do not have the time if it had hundreds of people on it, basically. And that's the reason why it's a thing for the Patreon supporters and channel members to get together and show off their collections, talk about the recent shows and their recent pickups and things like that. It's a great place to be, but as I say, if I opened it up to literally everybody, it would just be impossible to sort of police it. Kelcats98 says, question for next week. Do you think we'll get a Luke Skywalker on the Mandalorian card, even though there's not much difference between that and the other Lukes around? So I'm not so sure if it'll be on a Mandalorian card, because obviously, spoiler alert, he was heavily featured in the Book of Boba Fett. I could possibly see them more inclined to put him on a Book of Boba Fett card now, or maybe even a deluxe thing with Baby Yoda in his backpack maybe. But let's be frank about it. It's Luke Skywalker. Hasbro loves making Luke Skywalker, and they are never ever going to miss a trick with this guy. We will definitely get this figure at some point. Can't tell you when, but I think we all know that we will be getting that figure at some point. Paul's Collectible says, Tim, great video as always. Question for next week. My friend Adashir Radpour is the performance artist for both Klatooinian crime bosses in the Book of Boba Fett. What do you think the chances are we will get a Klatooinian crime boss figure in the vintage collection? It would be awesome to get one of those and have him sign it for my collection. I would absolutely love to say that it's a high possibility that you'll get those figures, but I just really don't think it is. I think when you're looking at the Book of Boba Fett and the figures that we're going to get, it's going to be your Black Chrysanthemums, it's going to be your Luke Skywalker, it's going to be hopefully your Peli Mottos, those kind of characters, the ones that are in it a lot, basically. I just think, a Klatooinian crime boss sitting around a table, I doubt that very much that's going to happen. But, the main characters we will definitely see eventually. But it's a bit of a shame saying that, isn't it? Because, of course, we would all love to have all of those crime bosses. We'd all love to have as many figures as we could possibly get. But I think we're going to have to limit ourselves, initially anyway, to the sort of main characters. Rob Chewbacca says, excellent content, Bossk, thank you. Question for next week. In the previous Ask Boss Bounty, you talked about card backs and keeping them original. Would you be okay with Hasbro updating the photo quality of the original releases? The example is the Luke Bespin Fatigues VCO4. The photo on that card back is absolutely terrible. So when it comes to the Kenner card backs that they made back in the day, then I would prefer it if they didn't update them. I like them how they were. It represents how they were when we got them when we were when we're kids, basically. If they were ever to revisit the Han Solo Stormtrooper that we talked about earlier and the Leia Bespin Escape, for example, then those two definitely need better card backs. But when it comes to Luke Bespin 04, I would prefer it if they would give us something like this, you know, the alternate card from the Kenner days. That's actually a Palatoy card. But I'm a big fan of the alternate image cards. I do have quite a few of them. It's like a mini focus for me in my vintage collecting, vintage Kenner collecting. And I know my friend Nick is also a big advocate for the alternate image cards. I mean, you know, if we were to get a Luke Bespin on that card back, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? So I'm all for that. But in terms of like updating the originals, like the original VC04, yeah, I'd just prefer if they kept them how they were, even though they are pretty terrible. Rob Ernest says, great video, boss. Question for next week: what is your favourite Star Wars video game? Keep up the awesome content. I'd probably have to say the ones that came out on the N64 and the GameCube, the Rogue Squadron games. They were fantastic. I absolutely loved playing those. I also really enjoyed the Force Unleashed games. They were awesome. I think I had those on the Xbox 360. They were really good games. And of course, you know, most recently, Battlefront 2 is a pretty good game as well. Roloff Donker says, hi there, Tim. You recently did a video of the upcoming TVC releases for the rest of the year, but where do you think the possible figures from the Kenobi and Andor series fit in? Do we again have to wait a whole year, or do you think Hasbro will slide them in sometime this year? Keep up the good work. So in that video where I did the releases for the year, there was a wave in October, which we don't know who the figures are yet. I potentially feel that we maybe might see some Kenobi figures in there. As far as Andor goes, I think we'll probably have to wait until next year. I'm not even too sure when that show is airing. I don't think that's actually been confirmed. I think Obi-Wan is rumoured for May. So if we got figures in, you know, in that final wave of the year, October, November, then I'd be pretty happy with that. But we'll just have to wait and see. But that's my theory. Owen Brown says, hi Tim, I've got a question for next week. If you could have one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? I love Owen's questions. They're always about sort of like life questions about, you know, what's my favourite pizza and things like that. But if I was going to pick one meal for the rest of my life, I mean, that'd be pretty boring, wouldn't it? Having the same meal every day. But I guess I would have to pick one of three. I can't give you a definitive answer. It'd have to be either a fillet steak, a roast dinner with all the trimmings, probably roast beef, I would say. And finally, I do like a hog roast bap with stuffing and gravy and crackling. I mean, that is just amazing. Lee Bush says, will you be reviewing the Stan Solo Bantha? So I have seen the Stan Solo Bantha. I watched Michael from Retro Blasting's video. Great review on that Bantha. It does look fantastic. I would like one. I can't buy one just now. I just do not have the room for it. When I get my new collection room, when I've got a bit more room and I want to really sort of set out my vintage Kenner stuff as well as my modern, so I want to get the dewback out and all that kind of thing, then man, that Bantha would be a fantastic thing to add to that collection. With regarding to reviewing it, I'd love to, but I think by the time I get it, I think a lot of people would have done that already. And if you want to see a great review of it, then obviously Michael at Retro Blasting did a pretty good job. Alright then guys, that's it for this week's video. As I mentioned before, I will be doing a giveaway for all of this stuff in front of you here when I hit 20,000 subscribers. But of course, the main thing that you need to do to be able to win that is be a subscriber. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, get me to that 20k. And the quicker we do that, then the quicker I can give all this stuff away and do an awesome live stream and things like that. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much to my latest Patreon supporters and all my existing supporters and channel members. Your support means a great deal to me, so thank you so much. Thank you all for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.